Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host, Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechvalley.com. We have a very, very special guest with us, Martin Reid. He's the chairman of the Rensselaer County Legislature. Mr. Reid, welcome to the Jewish View.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for being here. I think that you've done so much in Rensselaer County as an elected official. I'm really proud that you have found the time to come and grace our stage here.
I appreciate it.
Tell us, the audience, a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up, how you got into this position, how you rose through the ranks, that sort of thing.
I grew up in the town of Sand Lake, and I'm the youngest of 7 children. My father was the town doctor, and my mom was very involved in the community also, and so this is my way of serving the community that I grew up in. I couldn't be a doctor, but this is my way, and as soon as I came home from grad school, I got very involved in local politics and became a committee member, and then chose to run for the county legislature in 1995 in a special election. At that time, there was a vacancy, and former Congressman Patterson's widow, Ellie Patterson, was nominated by the Democratic Party. I was nominated by the Republican Party. It was George Pataki's first special election that he called as governor, and I won in a very cold day.
So you're there 20 years then?
Strangely, yes.
Yeah. You say your father's a doctor, so my sister's a doctor. My father says, I have one of the doctor of the body and one of the doctor of the soul. So you're a doctor also, because you're a doctor, you heal people in the political arena. You do a lot for people.
Yes.
Some people need vitamins, some people need shots, and a lot of people need other things. And in a certain sense, you're a doctor too.
And how old are you now?
I'm 50 years old.
50. So
yes.
You were 30, give or take 29, 30, 31,
29.
Whatever, when you were elected.
Yes.
Wow, that's terrific. So what do you do that really pays the bills instead of?
I'm working as a real estate agent with the Kinderhook Group right now. So that is what I have done, some lobbying back and forth in the education field. I was with the state university, but left there to run for the state assembly. That didn't work out. So
Is that the Tim Gordon seat? Or?
Yes. Yep. Okay. So I've been doing real estate, which kind of also works into my philosophy because I'm more or less helping people. There's a lot of real estate comes about because of a death in the family or a divorce or some financial problems, and I tend to be the one who steps in and tries to help out with that situation.
And do you have the Rensselaer County region for Kinderhook Group?
Yep.
Okay, so you interact with your constituents a lot also.
Correct. And I feel it keeps me very connected to the community, being in real estate, and makes me a better legislator.
So you have married, have kids? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Married to Caitlin, and we have 2 children: Chad, who just graduated from high school this year, and Grace, who's going into her sophomore year at Averill Park High School.
Well, happy 50th birthday!
Thank you.
The big 50.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. I say, it's interesting to mix politics. A lot of times, and that's really an argument. These politics they never had a real quote unquote job. I mean, I'm not saying you're on the contrary. Though, like you say, you're meeting people constantly and seeing their concerns. Maybe there's a foreclosure. You see how difficult it is for people. I mean, I'm a rabbi. I always see that. People come to us for problems, but a little bit, and that's the complaint people have. Politicians, they never had a real job. They're away from everything. They're locked up in the Capitol, and they never really know what the man in the street is really dealing with.
A good example is a property I have right now. It's a foreclosure, and it's not because they ran out of money. It's because a child died, and they've kind of dissolved as a couple. And sadly, this has happened. So
you have to almost, like I say, be like a rabbi or a doctor or so.
Right.
That's what I was saying. You help people.
And you refer them back to their faith and try to steer them along also.
Oh, good.
Rensselaer County is burgeoning like we've never seen before. With East Greenbush, there are parts of
Yes.
Rensselaer County that isn't burgeoning, maybe like Hoosick, but also other areas that are. What's your position on, well, casinos, because you got two that are proposed, one in East Greenbush and one in DeLotte's Landing. Hard Rock Cafe seems very exciting and sexy over there. So, you know, is the jury still out for you as to whether this is, you know, promoting gambling or whether this is good for economic development? I mean, you got the good and the bad, and how do you come down on it?
Well, we'll back up a little bit. As we entered the recession and I became chairman, I said I wanted to do something about our infrastructure so we would be poised and ready for the recovery. So we partnered with Siemens Corporation and we took over a $30 million rehab of our sewer plant. Not the sexiest issue,
Right.
but the capacity is there, but the process had to be updated after 45 years. And so now we're ready to grow the county.
Right.
And so you're seeing these proposals. The first one was Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, which is now the largest pharmaceutical company in the state. They were going to leave. But because I was able to quickly get there and promise them a hookup to their toilets and their sinks.
That's all they needed, you mean?
That is what
made the deal.
Yes, they stayed.
Interesting.
300 employees being hired. They've made every promise or every commitment they've made, they're kept. They are hiring people, good jobs.
And then you had the East Campus from University of Albany.
And they're right next door. And this allowed us to expand their pipes and their capacity. So the East Campus for the University of Albany can now grow some facilities. And you have Dr. Sally Temple, who's there doing incredible work on macro degeneration. And she's bringing in scientists from all over the world.
Aren't there Israeli scientists who are coming?
Yep.
Or came, or they're here now? I'm not sure.
They go back and forth.
But aren't they at the East Campus?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, I've met them. My wife works for the School of Public Health, so I've met them a couple of times at dinners and things. So it's. We also have Israeli scientists and engineers have come for the sewer plant because Siemens is a multinational corporation, and it's an interesting process. We won't get into it.
No, I used to work for Water Technology Magazine. And
okay.
And they were water and sewage treatment and wastewater management, and I used to write about all that. And one of my last stories I did for the magazine was about Israel and how they're developing their sewage and water options out over there. So, you know, that was the most challenging thing was calling someone because of the time difference and getting the quotes from someone, you know, and having to come in at 7 in the morning in order to find someone still at work and, you know, deal with that. Anyhow, so casinos. That's okay. We digress. Now we come back. Okay.
I personally voted against the constitutional change. I don't think it's great economic development. The process and that we're going through right now doesn't really involve us very much locally, although there's much talk and there would be eventually some.
Well, this is why I'm asking you, because you don't have to have
a local planning committee.
You don't have to. The county, you can't politically now, not personally, veto it. You wouldn't be able to county saying, hey, we don't want it in our county.
The law was written so not to have local say in it. The Gaming Commission has changed that to say that they want local resolutions only from the towns.
Right.
But when the governor crafted it, he did not want local interference on this issue. Fracking, different story. But on this one, he wanted no locals involved. So we are not involved formally.
So you're not in favor of the casino because?
I don't think it's great economic development myself. I see the dangers of it, and I am very well versed in the problems that occur with problem gambling. I don't know if we would have enough money in our mental health department to handle all that new problem. So I'm very much concerned. But obviously, as an industry, it just got downgraded by Moody's because they're seeing that it's going to drop 3 to 5% a year.
The casino
gambling,
It's probably even going to get worse. If you put casinos all over New York State, you're cutting up the pie
Correct.
you know, in even smaller pieces.
You know, I
Yeah.
remember in 1980, 81, where Gertie Lipschitz was an assemblywoman from Queens and she wanted casinos here. It failed by one vote on the second time around, the
Yeah.
casino proposition. Had we had casinos since the 80s, things would have been different here in New York State. I don't think this is the time that.
Right, we're getting
casinos.
into a late industry.
Yeah.
And both of the gentlemen who have put proposals together for Rensselaer County have proposals down in Newburgh.
Yeah.
They really want to stop the traffic coming up first in Newburgh and get them to gamble there. So I think they're playing a bait and switch game, and I'm not optimistic, nor am I particularly, thinking that Rensselaer County will have a casino. I just don't think it's
Now,
going to happen.
could you get just the Hard Rock Cafe part of it?
No,
Go right here.
I know. Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be? But then, everyone's been joking in the community. You have Hard Rock Cafe Paris, Hard Rock Cafe London, Hard Rock Cafe New York,
Yeah.
Hard Rock Cafe Rensselaer,
Yeah.
Hard Rock Cafe Delots Landing. It's like, what is that? Paris, London, New York, Anyway,
But we
Put
have
you on the map, that's all.
we have Dinosaur Barbecue in Troy, and that is full, constantly full.
it is,
You
absolutely.
know, one of the questions, once you bring up Troy, Troy is on the rebound because, like I know the waterfront, which really is not only Rensselaer County, you can say the same thing with
Right.
Albany County. You look at New York City, the waterfront, or any major city, Chicago, the waterfront is the highest levels condos. And then, in Albany you have the 787, or in Troy you have a cement factory. People could sell that for $1 million condos, in major cities.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any work on that? I know Troy, people tell me that it's on the rebound, maybe more businesses are coming up.
The smaller restaurants and entertainment sites are really coming up. The restaurants are really good, and RPI has helped fuel that because they're making a real effort to be in the downtown and to move some of their offices there and move students there. So you're starting to have that vibrancy mixed in nicely, and we'll see. The riverfront has not historically been developed well, but
Right.
there are a lot of vacant properties that people are looking at, and proposals are being pitched right now.
And that's
So-
more of a city issue than a county issue.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
and that's, totally controlled by the city, although we as a county legislature and the county executive have been very supportive of RPI and their move to kind of come into the downtown, such as the Proctor's, former theater, they're rehabbing that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
That's a Troy Proctor's, not a Schenectady Proctor's.
That's
Right.
what I was just going to ask, what are you doing?
No, there's a
Right.
Troy Proctor's that was part of the vaudeville circuit.
Yes.
When they would come to Troy and then the Palace and then Schenectady Proctor's. And they would make that circuit.
How long has it been down?
Well, since
since
the
the
30s.
70s,
Really?
it's been.
Oh, the Troy, the theater.
Troy
you're talking
one
about,
has been,
But
closed
but
up.
vaudeville's been closed since the 30s,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So they're trying to revitalize the city with a theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we had the Schenectady Proctors, Phil Morris here, and he
Philip
just
Morris,
said that
yeah.
was a real centerpiece, he said, of thriving
Yeah.
Schenectady, so that could be for Troy also.
So
Right.
what's the biggest issue facing the county legislature these days?
Well, in the summer, it's really just moving into the budget time and being ready for that. So that, and after this winter, the roads are just a mess, and getting enough money for the roads and bridges
In the potholes you're talking about?
Yeah,
On the county
yeah.
roads.
on the
not-
county roads. And
People don't understand, there are town roads, there are state roads,
Yeah.
there are there are county
State,
roads.
yep.
And, people just see a pothole in a road and they want to call the elected
Yeah.
official they know the best, regardless of whether it's appropriate or not. And, you just have to figure it out as to which county road. How many miles of county road do you have?
we have 351 miles.
Make sure you
So-
got that extra 1 mile.
Yeah,
on
that
road.
one.
That's right.
Yeah. But we have bridges that we've had to close,
Yeah.
and other ones we've flagged, and they're in rural areas where if there's a fire, that's a real problem. If fire trucks have to be diverted miles away from getting to your home, now we've got a big concern.
So what's the budget of Rensselaer County?
It's around 163 million.
Okay.
And you're doing well,
We do well, yeah.
mean, you
We have about
meet
10
the
million
budget?
in the fund balance, so that helps as a cushion, because the
Right.
nursing home can, from time to time, it always runs in the red, because running a public nursing home is difficult, but it's something we're committed to. So it can vary quite a bit. But we do a very good job. The county executive, Kathy Jimeno, does a wonderful job maintaining the budget and keeping a hand on that. And we have been upgraded recently, so
You know, we
Yeah,
had Dan
wait a
McCoy-
minute, let the audience know, upgraded.
in our rating by
Well, the
Moody's,
bonds.
and so that
So that-
borrowing for bonds is much cheaper for us than the other counties.
Okay, thank you.
Just as saying, Dan McCoy is on our show. I mean, I think Mark has brought every public official in the whole Capital District almost just about to our show.
Well, no, he's not the last one. I don't
He's
want you
not,
to think
right.
that he's the last. No, there's others that are
There's
coming on.
others,
yeah.
all right. But in any case, much of our show was talking about the nursing home situation in Albany County and trying to make that into a profit. So once you said that, I mean, is there any work on, I mean, nursing homes maybe?
In other words, are you working with Albany County to see what they're doing in their transition to having it a quasi-public-private nursing home?
No.
As
Turn
opposed
it to a profit? I
No,
mean,
I think Albany County's on a mission that they're not, going to win. It's extremely difficult. The state doesn't want us to privatize it. They've closed every angle to doing that. So we've done what we can. So our pharmacy is a private entity, and that works. Our physical therapy work is privatized, but after that, there's nothing more you can do legally in this state. And so what you try to do is have your Medicaid and your private pay beds about equal. We have 230 beds. It's a newer facility, 11, 12 years old, or more. No,
All right.
12 years old. And so we try to have that mix, but that's not always possible because, again, it's one of those things where the phone rings and it's somebody you know and you want to help, and so they come. My mother is there right now getting restoration services because she had a vertebrae break, and we're hopeful in a week or so she'll be able to go back home.
Well, if you're happy to put your mother in the nursing home,
Yeah.
that must be a good nursing home.
It's a very good nursing home.
Where is it located?
In North Greenbush, Van Rensselaer Manor, and it's highly rated by the state. We get, obviously, they come in and do SNAP inspections twice a year, and we've been written up for our approaches to diseases, communicable diseases and stuff, and we've saved a lot of lives by requiring the residents to wash their hands before and after meals. So our flu deaths are very low.
So how much do you have to, how much does Medicaid and private insurance cover, and then how much does the county have to pitch in every year to help cover whatever costs you don't bring in from other sources?
It's about 37 million of public money and from Medicaid and Medicare, and then 9 million a year typically of county taxpayers to keep it afloat.
Subsidizing.
Yeah, subsidized.
You know, once you're talking about things in Rensselaer, you know, one of the major things I know as a county is the Rensselaer jail. I mean, every jail, actually, I visited some Jewish people there. One of my 10 jobs is of Jewish people.
Sure.
Chaplain, not too many, thank God, but, one is too many to be in jail. I mean, they need their services to look after
Absolutely.
them. But, it's a nice jail.
It is.
Nice to visit. I wouldn't want to live there. But, all right, one of those things. But, again, that must be a big part of the budget, keeping up that
It is.
prison.
It is, and again, the state almost tells you day to day what you can and cannot do. In the past, we've had problems where we couldn't transfer inmates to other facilities so that we could take in inmates and make some money like Albany County does.
Why not? I
Does-
know Albany County does.
The state, they monitor your communications about trading inmates, and they can veto it at any time, and they have done that repeatedly until the situation where we are right now, where we built out 2 more wings, and now we're making some revenue.
Yeah, I know they take in, from the sometimes
Federal,
federal
yeah.
prisons come in and they're overcrowded in other prisons.
Well, we're going to have the sheriff on. Mahar, is it?
Jack Mahar.
Jack Mahar. We're
Yep.
going to have the
All
sheriff
right, so
on.
we'll
We'll
talk
talk
to
to
him
him.
all
Yeah,
about
talk
the
to him
county. He's the man, huh?
because 2 years ago, we had the state legislature pass a bill allowing us to take the Vermont inmates, because they have a very big shortage. And then Albany County did the same thing, and Vermont won't sign the contract with any of us. I don't know.
They don't want to give you the money, maybe.
I guess, but I don't know where they're putting, well, they were releasing the people,
They
but
were
they're
releasing,
having, now they're having more and more problems in Burlington and other places because they keep releasing people that.
Well, they're releasing them, they're coming across the border to New York, and then we arrest them, and then we put them in our county
Right.
jails. So
They
they come
just
here
tell
one
us,
way or
go
the
to
other.
New York, go to
Go to
New York and do your crime.
Strangely, with the heroin epidemic, they are coming from Bennington and Rutland,
Yes.
but they come with that green license plate on their car, and they're being picked up on 787 just 1, 2, 3, just regularly.
Really?
But they are addicted people. I mean, so yes,
They're looking for drugs. Where are they coming here from?
they're coming here to buy
To sell.
heroin or to transport heroin back up to Vermont.
It's really that bad of an epidemic. I've heard that from a good few
Oh, yeah.
people.
What other issues are big? I mean, you don't meet for 5 minutes in the county legislature, so what other issues are really bubbling and coming to the surface that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, what we've tried to do is or create a human services cabinet. And that's something all the counties have been trying to move towards. So you have probation, you have welfare or Medicaid together with social services and mental health.
Okay.
So you're cross-referencing people and getting them the services they need. And now we're trying this in one building.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a big challenge right there. Having all those employees together and then having the clients that come in and handling that properly. And it's a big challenge, that's for sure. And so this is new for us. And we're already seeing some cost overruns of the whole move and things like that are eye-opening. But other than that,
What about your rural areas in Rensselaer County, Petersburg or Hoosick
Or
Falls,
let us
Hoosick
say
Valley,
that the biggest farm in Rensselaer County is a kosher farm,
which is where?
the Harrington Farm.
Harrington's Farm,
Yeah,
Ken-
that's
yeah.
they exclusively kosher milk.
And where is that located?
Brunswick.
Brunswick.
And
But
Ken
Brunswick-
Harrington is the vice chairman of the legislature.
Really, I didn't even know.
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Well, how do you like that?
yes,
Who
yeah.
knew that he was...
And his brother Phil Harrington is the supervisor of
Of
Brunswick.
I didn't even know
So,
that. How
but
do
they
you-
Well, it's
are
all-
the biggest, yes.
And it's
They're
all
the biggest.
kosher.
It's all kosher.
Yes, yeah.
Got the biggest kosher in the capital district and pumping milk. That's good.
Okay.
And he's always trying to be very innovative and with the latest research and things. And so, yeah, we're very proud of the Harrington Farm.
So what's on your agenda, like, for the future? Like, what do you see in your future moving forward? What's on your bucket list that you want to fill?
The next one is the Port of Albany and the Port of Rensselaer, and I'd like a divorce. I would like to get away from the Port of Albany's control of the Port of Rensselaer and be able to market and rebuild the Port of Rensselaer
Oh, who's
ourselves.
in charge?
The board of directors of the Port of Albany.
Independent of any city, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a
You say
commission.
Albany or
There's a
It's a
no, it's the
commission.
Port of Albany.
And
Maybe
isn't-
Albany runs it. No, but
No, it's a commission that was set up in 1927, and all the appointments are from Albany except for one. And the city of Rensselaer makes that appointment, and they don't have a big interest in it. And I think that would be the next economic development model for us, because there are things happening that I didn't even know about. I had no idea that they have rebuilt the Panama Canal, and it will be reopened in 2016.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, allowing bigger ships to come through, more containers, and there's going to be more impact to Albany and the port.
Because we have the ships coming up from the Panama Canal up to Albany, up
They
to Hudson?
break them down in New York and put a lot of the containers on barges, and then they bring them up,
Really? Oh.
or
So
on the
that's
trains.
interesting. So
Well,
it's going to
thank
have
you
an
for that.
impact on Albany. What
Yes.
they're doing in the Panama Canal. huh?
Right.
That's a
So-
story.
Wondering where you were going with that Panama Canal story.
Yeah. But instead of talking to us about building out the Port of Rensselaer down into East Greenbush, because we have the room, vacant land, they're talking to Queens and other areas, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Wow.
We're right across the river,
Yeah.
and so that's
Now,
what I'd like to
Do
try.
you have we got these tracks with the oil tankers coming here on the Albany side. Do you have
Right.
anything like that on the Rensselaer side?
Some of them come through Rensselaer County also.
So
They
what's your
come through
position about
Scottsdale.
these oil tankers?
We're
the danger?
comfortable with it. No,
No.
I do trust Conrail and CSX. I do know that they have taken the necessary procedures to be safe. I've seen them do the training for their employees. So it is not a major concern
So
to
why
us.
is Albany so upset?
I'm not sure.
Is it are the tracks close to homes in Rensselaer?
Up in Scotticook they are, yeah.
They
They're
are?
in near the village, yes.
And they don't
They've been
worry
going
about
through
a
for
turn,
hundreds of years.
and they don't worry about a turnover or overturned cars.
We just had one back in February. We had a tractor trailer crossing over while the train had started, and he hit one of them.
That's not good.
And the truck ended up in the water,
Getting the
but the
worst.
oil was safely contained.
Okay. well,
So, but we also know that if the president would allow the Keystone Pipeline to be built, those tankers will go away. So
okay.
if pressure wants to be exerted,
It's the Keystone Pipeline.
It is the Keystone Pipeline.
And
That's the
which
reason.
the same environmentalists who are opposing these oil tankers are also opposing the Keystone Pipeline.
Correct.
Because they also want to encourage renewable energy and not whether it's the natural gas or it's oil pipelines or it's oil tankers. They want renewable
Right.
energy.
Right.
So they're opposing everything.
Yes. And unfortunately for them, we're finding out we have more oil
That's right.
and more natural gas than we thought existed. So,
So are you has Rensselaer County taken a position on hydrofracking? Or you don't need to?
we don't need to.
You
but-
don't need to. There's no chance of, how about dumping the ash or the waste from hydrofracking in Rensselaer County?
We don't have any facilities where they could do that.
No?
So,
You don't have a landfill?
no.
Where do you put your
No.
stuff?
Private haulers are really, so I'm,
Where do they
wherever
put
they
it?
take it.
They take it to
well,
Albany County
usually the
landfill?
county.
Raft Road?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is unusual. If you talk to other counties like Rockland and Dutchess, they're in charge of garbage. Thank goodness I am not. I don't want to be in charge of garbage. The sewer plant is plenty of a headache. So, but yeah, we do all private haulers or the cities take care of the garbage also.
Who was your mentor politically? Who was your mentor? Was it Neil Kelleher? Or?
Well, Neil in the county legislature, he was the chairman that I came in when I first
Talking about
began
the
to
former assemblyman.
Well,
Or his son.
his father,
His
Neil
father.
Kelleher,
Okay.
the assemblyman, who grew up watching vaudeville
Yeah.
at Proctor's and other
Right.
places, and then performing because his father had a barbershop quartet. So if you remember how
Yeah.
funny Neil was,
Yeah.
he was cribbing a lot of the jokes he had heard as a child. But Neil Kelleher and John Faso, really. I
Yeah.
mean, working for John for quite a few years was a great experience and something that hasn't been replicated. I mean, when John gave you directions and gave you a project to do, he had already pre-thought it and things just came together so nicely. I kind of miss that.
Yeah. But hopefully you're continuing that
I try.
when you have to deal with your underlings.
Yeah.
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 Co-workers. yeah.
Mark, I think
Okay.
we're out of
I
time.
think so too.
All right.
So therefore, but we had an enjoyable conversation, and
Yes.
we always give a little blessing to wish you continued success in what you're doing and helping the good people of Rensselaer County and thus the whole Capital District. And we continue to hope that you do good things and with good health.
Keep up the good
Thank
work.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.